webinar, Bridging Policy and Practice Enabling Pharma Trade from India, focused on strengthening India's pharmaceutical ecosystem. As global regulations evolve and trade dynamics shift, it is crucial to ensure the industry is future ready. A lot of tariffs and export stock is on, and it's always in the news. So we have our expert panel who will be discussing key challenges, policy gaps, and the way forward for scaling pharma exports. So as usual, in our ETPharma, we have high-profile panelists, and today we have a group of experts who has already joined us. Thanks a lot to all of our panelists who have joined. Let me welcome Dr. D.R. Ghane, Joint Commissioner Drugs, Maharashtra FDA. Thanks a lot for joining in, Dr. Ghane. And next we have Dr. Viranji Shah, spokesperson, Indian Drug Manufacturing Association. Dr. Shah, thanks a lot for joining and taking time. And we have Mrs. Aditi Kare, Managing Director, Indoco Remedies. Thanks a lot, ma'am, for taking out your time and joining us. And we have Mr. Nipun Jain, Chairman, MSME Panel, PharmExcel. Thanks a lot, Mr. Jain. And along with the experts, I have Vikasa, the editor, ETPharma and ET Healthcare, who's will be moderating the session along with me. I'm Pratibha Raju, the Senior Assistant Editor of ETPharma. Thanks a lot for all of you all for taking time once again. Let me begin with the question. India supplies over 20% of the world's generic medicines, which we all know. It continues to face a lot of regulatory setbacks, inspection, red flags, export bottlenecks in key markets. This all we are all aware of this. If you had to diagnose the core issue holding back our full export potential, is it quality, policy, coordination, or mindset? What is the first fix we must get right? So let me go to Mr. Ghane first. Sir, your thoughts.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much. I would like to listen from the industry the various present difficulties industry is facing, particularly for the export of the product from the India, and we can summarize what are the possible measures we can take up for the further smoothening of the exports and the licensing and even the grant of the WHO GMP certification and the COTP also. So I will request our expert panelists to express their views regarding the difficulties faced by the pharma industry for the exports.
Okay, I think we need to listen from the industry first. Like Mrs. Aditi, you can list out for us.
So Pratibha, let me start. I know we are in an industry where every unit is precious, and we are, it's for the quality of life of our patients. But quite frankly, because you talked of what's in public domain, what's being talked about quality, etc., etc. What you forget is that 99% of product made in India is perfectly good, and for the remaining 1%, which makes it to where the noise is made, we should not evaluate the entire industry by that standard. First. Second, you asked me whether it is quality, policy, is it coordination, is that what you said, or mindset? So as representing a company where we have 5 US FDA sites, we have 3 MHRA sites. So this has been a journey for us of over 20 years, and it's never easy when you have to scale from one particular benchmark expected on quality to the other. That is not to say that one is better or worse than the other. It is just a different expectation. So, I mean, we face that even between MHRA and US FDA, not just Indian FDA. What MHRA wishes, sometimes FDA does not want that, and vice versa. So a lot of it has got to do with understanding the expectation, as per me. And in India, in particular, with the new Schedule M that has come in, the mindset is very important, because we are going from approving a facility to a product, approving a product in a license. I think that is how it used to be in India for the longest time, to now approving the quality management system of the organization, which is a huge shift and we do have a long way to go. But looking at how much effort has been put in by the industry, small and large, over the last couple of years to improve infrastructure, I have no doubt they will ace this as well.
So, Ms. Aditi, you're saying the mindset is important. So the Schedule M is coming in. So let me go to Mr. Nipun. Nipun, your thoughts on this, sir?
Thank you. Good evening to all. See, we all are living in a very dynamic, changing environment where we have to upgrade ourselves with the compliances, regulatory compliances which are going on vis-a-vis Indian requirements as well as the foreign requirements importing countries from us. So definitely we are there, and as Mrs. Aditi also said, the compliances, if you see the NSQs also from India, which we are doing much better than earlier. So I think we are MSME especially, we are not against quality. We are up for quality. Definitely we have some we need some kind of handholding in with regard to trained manpower, with regard to finances, which we are seeking the government's help for that. But I'm sure that we'll come up to the standard, and we'll do what we have to do. Thank you.
Okay, so mindset, compliance, and let me go to Dr. Shah. Dr. Shah, your thoughts.
And a very good afternoon to all my fellow panelists, and for expressing very important thoughts. I look at it in a way that there is no other industry in the world that can parallel what India is doing today. If you see the macro numbers, as Aditi ji also very rightly said, that uh, the level of compliance that we have in India is remarkable. The size and scale of what we are doing, especially in the formulation sector, this is also notable. And you could find very rarely any other country in the world that has the capability and the competency to do what we are already doing. Of course, mindset is definitely important in our road for building what we have achieved till today to our dream of 2047, which is scaling at least 10 times from what we are today. And this is all doable. Uh, Quality initiatives, some of the initiatives that have been recently taken, including the initiative to revise Schedule M, I think the entire industry has been a part of this journey. And whatever some of the opinions or views that have been coming from some sector are with respect to time, for example, that they need more handholding or they need more support or more time. But more or less, the entire pyramid of the industry has been in alignment of this idea that quality specifications or our GMP requirements have to be met, and everybody has to join this journey. So it is all about starting with the mindset and then the execution of it. So how well we execute with the resources that we have. But on a macro number, I can tell you that the kind of growth this sector has potential to take in the next decade or two, you will hardly find anywhere in the world.
So very optimistic thoughts coming up on the first question which we had, given to the panelists. Let me bring in Sir Vikas sir to the next set of questions. Maybe the US tariff and Trump.
Thank you so much, Pratibha, and thanks everyone for agreeing to speak here. It's a very important topic for the industry. The outlook is very positive, yet there are so many uncertainties that keep coming up. Either there were some, logistics issues which cropped up. Then now we have this for the last 6 months. One issue has been bothering us. Uh, in the light of all these uncertainties, do you think we can still have the resilience to move ahead with the ambitious goals that we have put? I think some consulting report actually put the potential of exports alone to be like 10 or 15 times more from where we are right now, of about 25-30 billion dollars, to in about 25-30 years it can become 350 billion dollars. So with that, can I prod Aditi to take it up first?
Yeah, because as a student 35 years ago, one of my thesis was Dunkelgart proposal on patents, the Indian perspective. And never in 35 years have I thought of what I wrote then as I'm doing in this last week. Because Because you've asked about the resilience of the industry. So if you recall, that time we signed in 98, and IDMA was one of the key bodies which negotiated to push it, the effects of it, to 2005, and everybody thought we are going to collapse. And then they said, okay, there is an effect lasting of the earlier approved patents, already patented products in market. So by 2008, for sure, everybody's gone. And, so let's not talk of how resilient the industry is. I think there is no reason to question that at all. The question we have to ask ourselves is, with all these tariffs, which are not in place yet, of course, there are assumptions. If you look at the share market and the movement of the prices, everybody's waiting very
Jumping.
patiently to know what it's going to be. So certain facts I'd like to place in front of you, because let's not debate on what has not actually happened, but we must remember that US is more than half of the entire world market. So from that perspective, it is an important market for us. And if you look at what we gave up in 98, was the product patent. Otherwise, I was just doing some rough back of the envelope calculations. If you look at diabeto-cardio, CNS, the three areas where most of the patented products are coming in today, there is a good 12 to 13% contribution now coming from patented products. And we can't forget that diabetes alone is going to be a 30,000 crore market in India in 5 years, just 5 years. And it's already 12%. So you can imagine what is not going to be available for the rest of us who don't do NCs or don't work on first to file. So
Absolutely.
this is something we cannot forget. But what did we get in return? Okay, close to 8 billion exports to US. So that's the flip side of it. Question is, if you compare the two, quite honestly, the rate at which, like Viranji ji said, we are going to grow by 2047, there would come a point where the two curves, if you look at what we gave up and what we're getting, I'm not quite sure. At one point, we're going to wonder whether we thought we are signing to a common law on trade. And now we realize that patents are really more bilateral than unilateral. And tariffs beyond patents like these can really shake up the whole thing. So I wonder if the think tank at that time realized this would. I mean, there have always been non-tariff barriers which were invisible. You have the entire VA clinics in US, which is almost 35% of the entire market. Technically, huge potential, which has been out of our purview. Which nobody talks of. So, and we had in national interests, many countries did it. But this kind of a thing, what it would mean for us, especially in light of the 650 US FDA plants we have in India and the amount of investment Indians have done, in order to be able to get access to that market. And in the process, it has been a win-win, let me tell you that. I read an article sometime back. Kiran Majumdar Shaw actually said that we've saved US economy trillions of dollars through supplier. So it's been a win-win, honestly. So let's wait and see, because I don't think any one party is going to lose if the tariffs come. It's going to be lose-lose.
Yes,
So let's wait
absolutely.
and see how it turns out.
Right.
We are fortunate that 50% of the industry is from consumption in India. Which is good, and
Yeah.
it's growing, and it's coming to standard. The regulations are going up. They always say that about regulations, as the regulations up the ante, competitiveness actually goes up. Quite the contrary. More people feel now they can get greater market share. Let's wait and see, Vikas.
Right. Excellent. Dr. Shah, you want to go next on how do you see the market shaping up? In fact, even if there is no tariff, I think there is a kind of a tiredness that we have seen in the generics market in the US. I mean, the margins have actually shrunk so much that you probably have to really try very hard to see how much of, I mean, not to really say anything on the potential of the US market, but is there life beyond the US, or do you think that kind of a position shift is needed now?
I think I'll focus on something which has not been talked. When we are talking of tariffs, the larger message I see across the world is a trend towards deglobalization. And I think that is a bigger threat than the tariff itself. So if there are other countries that follow, where in general deglobalization becomes undercurrent, which means that local industries may get some advantages that Indians may not have access to, whether it is in terms of some tax incentives or other supports, whatever it is. And this actually, in my opinion, is a bigger issue than tariff. Now, as a nation, if we have to address this, the best we should do is to do some very hard work on making things easier for Indian exporters, right? So whether it is policy intervention, whether it is some controls that can be eased out, uh, we have to ensure that the competitiveness of the industry is elevated in the years, which will help us to counter some of the headwinds that we face when we are, fighting in markets where some local industries have started evolving. So I think that is one factor that both regulators and the industry will have to sit, discuss, and ensure that we actually, in letter and spirit, uh, bring for the ease of doing business for exports, and not only in terms of let's say the procedural simplification, also in terms of our compliances and how we can handhold each other to make sure that if such an undercurrent is seen across the world, we still really remain relevant and significant player. I think that, in my opinion, is more important.
Yeah, that's a very important point. In fact, on procedural simplification and how things can get simpler for our exporters, I think that we will again come back on that discussion towards the second or third part. But time to get Nipun here. Aditi mentioned about that 1% that is actually being talked about, but the collateral reputation issues that come up with that 1% is far more impactful. Do you think that is something that we need to plug? Is there a way in which the entire industry is in sync on having a very clear principle on setting global quality standards? There shouldn't be separate standards, there should be one standard. How do you think that goal can be reached?
No, thank you, Vikaji. I think that's there is no doubt about quality. Even MSME, there is no per se that we are having different standards of quality for one manufacturer for another set for different manufacturers. So I think regarding quality, we are all on one stand that we have to maintain that minimum compliances and minimum quality standards. And if somebody is doing wrong, I think then he should not be in this business at all. He should exit this business immediately. But at the same time, MSME, we are facing some challenges regarding, as I told earlier, also finances and regulatory framework guidance we need basically. And hold it, see the regulators which are coming to audit us or having inspections, we are okay with that, we are fine with it. But we also need a guidance, a holding hand that if suppose if there are like 10 points which we are not complying or maybe complying less, how do we come up to that standard? And if some people are not up to going for that standard, then there are no business to be in this pharmaceutical business. So
Right.
that's true.
Sure. Exactly the right point for Dr. Gahane to come in here. The industry has spoken. It's your turn, sir. How do you want to assess the quality parameters? We've seen some of those issues which came up on solvent, contaminated solvents, and then the exports became a big talk. How do you see that part going forward? Have you been penalizing companies? Have you come down heavily on them? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, thank you. Uh, as Aditi has rightly said, our pharma industry is an excellent industry, and the product manufactured by our manufacturers are really the quality product. When we audited the multiple pharma industry in particularly Maharashtra, we find that the industries developed tremendously during the last 5-10 years, particularly last 5 years and last 10 years. Their facilities are excellent, their machines are excellent, their manufacturing capacity rose to the great height. And again, another issue is the uniformity of the quality drugs, manufacturing the uniform quality drugs. So that issues are really goes to a very high extent. As Nipun Jainji has said, that the quality of the drug for the one country and the quality of the drug for the another country, this is not an issue. And though you can see the history or the even the growth of the companies, those who has maintained the quality, these companies grows up. Okay, we have many parallel examples. The industry, those have started near about the same period, but the one company rose to the different height as compared to the other company. The reason behind is only the quality of the drug and the policies of the top management to maintain the quality of the drug and this, the other related issues. As see the as far as the revised schedule is concerned, the harmonization of the standards, harmonization of the quality, having the proper regulatory instrument and proper quality standards in the country plays an important role for the acceptance of the product. See, the products of the India is accepted throughout the world in a very assured manner because the instrument, regulatory instrument, and the quality instruments and the quality mechanisms observed by the manufacturers and the ascertained by the regulators are extremely good as far as our regulation, our quality is concerned. Now, as Nipunji has also suggested, rather than going very heavily punitive for the smaller industry and rather than punish them, it's better to advise. Yes, we have already instructed all the inspectors. Now the role is not only the inspector to finding out the faults, but our role is to the advisor also. So find out the faults, discuss with the industry, discuss where their issue, discuss their difficulties, and try to find out the solution with the industry and guide them. How because as they are moving to from one industry to another industry, they can be better guide to guide the smaller industry. That is one thing. Yes, as Viransi Bhai has also said that the trend toward the localization and this trend of the tariff and the other related trend which may affect the pharma industry further. So we as a pharma industry, we as the regulators and even as the government has to look after all these changes today and subsequent. The expectations of the industry from the regulators is not much. They have very minimum expectations. One is the regulators should be also the advisor and the whatever they submit to the regulators for the grant approval certification, that certification or the approval should be granted at the minimum time, and that's what the basic expectations from industry. And in some lacunas in the submission, then there's the rather than just rejecting blindly, it's better to discuss with the industry and make it possible and make it the win-win situation rather than as Aditi has rightly said, rather than making it lose-lose situation. It's better to have a win-win situation. So the same thing with the regulators and the pharma industry. But yes, still there is a lot of scope for even the smaller industry and even the bigger industry to change the mindset. See, ultimately, the mindset of the top management plays an important role rather than the persons working at the low level. Yes, practices plays an important role, but the mindset of the top management and the regular monitoring or the regular assurance of whatever the practices adopted by or the advised by the top management, whether the same is observed at the lower level also. That is also plays an important role. So I personally feel the pharma industry will really come out of this. And another, Viransi Bhai said, it's the procedural simplification. Viransi Bhai, yes, it's really very important procedural simplification. We are trying for, and we are also discussing with our national regulatory authority to make this thing simpler, which will be the simpler for the manufacturers and even the regulators, so that the things will be more easier, and the whatever the desired speed pharma industry wanted, the same will be achieved. So that's from my side. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gahane. Already some positive notes coming from our state regulator. I think, yeah, so everything looks quite set, except that I think, as Aditi mentioned at the outset, our vision also needs to broaden up. What I have seen is like there are 10,000 units, of which the bold ones, the ones which had taken early risks, actually tapped the right markets, went into the US at the right time. Hatch-Waxman was just starting in. So there was a big generic wave which came in and everyone got into it. And, the next stage is where we see innovation coming. So I'm taking from a Bain Consulting report which spoke about Curate, Qurate. So Curate is for quality, regulation, access to global markets, talent, and entrepreneurial innovation. I think the last part is something that probably will be very, very important for us to accelerate the export prospects. I'm just taking a cue from what the Chinese have done just across the border, and the game has completely changed there. Big licensing deals are happening, global companies are going to them, uh, and the value has actually shot up. What has also happened is the Chinese companies are now competing between themselves on who is a better innovator. So it's a very different game that they have played. So any thoughts on that coming? Again, we'll start with Aditi and then we'll go to the others.
Yeah, because very interesting thoughts. I agree though, the top 4 or 5 companies in India who went in at the time of Waxman Hatch, they really reaped. And after that, obviously, more and more products were coming off patent. So the markets were opening up. And as most Indians do, we then competed with each other also a lot. And today, quite honestly, probably US business gets the least multiples
Exactly.
if you're listed, simply because you frankly don't make that kind of money. What people don't get for the amount of risk you carry and the amount of upfront investment, long-term costs, and lot has changed. I mean, I was just talking to my analytical team the other day, and I said, why have we become such a large team? So they gave me this long list of expectations from US FDA, which have come in the last 5 years itself, which weren't there before. So typically, on one side, costs of per unit what you were sort of selling is going down, but the expectation at US FDA for the benchmarks, because the innovators are making making it tougher for the generics to come in. So all that game is going on, and it's like it's heading to a zero, whatever, as somebody said. So your question is very interesting. How to then at such a time encourage India Pharma? Because even in US today, the 505(b)(2)s or the differentiated or super generics, and of course the peptides, small molecules, all those, that's all. I think it has to start at home. In India, we must collectively, regulators, industry associations, try and sit together and see how we could create an environment which fosters innovation. Because it's not enough to say we should go from volume to value. We also have to create probably an environment where value is appreciated. We all know in China what happens, when when our API guys have suffered. Sometimes API from across the border comes cheaper than the cost of goods in India. So it's clear that from utilities to facility to land to labor, everything is being provided on the platter. I think to foster innovation, maybe it's time because we've never had, we used to have a 200% weighted deduction on R&D, which also is gone. We used to have, of course, an access to the entire industry when there was no product patent. That went away. After that, Indian companies selling in India tried to create a difference by having combination products. Then Kokate committee came and the combination products have gone away. Uh, there is no end to what is going away for the local manufacturer. I think it is, I mean, maybe I can smile because today 50% of my revenues come from outside India. I'm trying to think if I was 100% in India today, would I be happy because US tariffs will come in? I don't think so. It's no longer the same India in which you used to sell before. So on one side, so without sort of playing with the patient's life, is it possible to create an environment where you don't wake up to read in the morning that XYZ product now under price control, XYZ product now withdrawn from market? You cannot imagine the amount of investment. And some of these products, you know, some of these products we are just passionately attached to. And I mean, this is quite honestly, what is 505(b)(2)? It is India's combination products. And we were long doing it for the longest time. Yes, in the era where you want more studies to be done, you want more data, it's best to come out and spell it out open. I'm sure all of us are ready for it. But to just say not to do it is probably not a good thing. And let's look at it. I mean, I'm being very bold to say this, and I'm hoping Dr. Gahane here will pass the message to others that truly we want to innovate, we want to participate in the market, but we would like to work with the regulators, and they should also not feel that we are on the other side. Yeah, that's what.
Perfect. Dr. Shah, Dr. Viranchi Shah, you want to add to that?
No, I think Aditi has covered it very well. Only
Yes.
one idea that I could add, I heard somewhere, was the combination of AIR, AIR, which is the combination of academics, industry, and the regulators. I think if these three sit together, there's a lot more that can be done. But of course, it's the environment and the handholding that again is very important, because we must understand that any form investment in innovation is a high risk game. So you're never sure of how much returns you could get after let's say 5 years of efforts. So somewhere, yes, we need to build that ecosystem.
Right. Nipun Jainji, you want to come in here?
So, Vikasji, I would like to present a different perspective what the panelists have said. Basically, if you say innovation and the regulated market, that's not the MSME cup of tea. But though it is like 55% of the exports from India, the regulated market, but we have to consider that 45% also goes to the rest of the world market, where MSME plays a big role in, and we all calling ourselves as pharmacy of the world, where we are catering to even the tiniest of the nations to the biggest of the nations. So I think we are gearing up for that. We are not so much present in innovation, but we are doing reverse engineering. We are developing molecules, doing the reverse engineering, and then selling at a much cheaper cost or a fraction of the cost what the other people are selling. So I think but we need at the same time to expand that 45% of the market, the ROW market. We also need the government help in some of the policies. Like API earlier, it was like India was very much present over there in IDPL, in this Hindustan Antibiotics Limited, but all these things, the fermentation technology, everything went to Chinese, and then now they're a master of it, and we cannot compete against them. But since the government of India started PLI scheme and they have started giving incentives, and India has the talent, India has the resources, but we just need a little bit more of government support, and I'm sure we can increase this ROW market also pretty much. Thank you.
Right. Pratibha is waiting for a bunch of questions.
Yeah. So, yes, it's very exciting to know how positively the industry and the regulators are seeing the tariff. So that's a news for us, sir. So let me go ahead with a particular question for each panelist. Let me go to Dr. Gane. Dr. Gane, Maharashtra FDA is reportedly moving towards digitized inspections and a risk-based regulatory approach. So can you elaborate on how this is being implemented and the impact it is starting to have? We really wanted to know.
Pratibha, let me tell you that presently we are using the two software portals. One is Excellent India for the licensing of the licensing for the manufacturers and the retailers and wholesale. And another, we have a separate portal for the grant of WTO GMP certificates and the COP. Both portals are going well. They are user friendly, and with minimum time we can grant the licenses and the certificates. As far as the Excel in India portal is concerned, it's developed by the NIC. Manufacturer or applicant need not to come to the office at all, and he can take out the take the printout of the license or the additional product permission or the certificate from his own office. So at present, our inspections are not digitalized. We are discussing on it thoroughly with our department of the IT also. And now, as there are the directions from the CDSU office to adopt the ONDLS portal for the licensing and the WTO GMP certification also. We had a few meetings with their portal developer, that is the CDAP, and even the Deputy Drug Controller of West Zone, DDC West Zone. And we have expressed what are the various difficulties, how it is need to be simplified, what are the unnecessary documents mentioned in the checklist, and the software should help the industry. It should be user friendly. They require to submit all the mandatory but minimum documents, no unnecessary documents, and the moment of the application should be simple as it is going on in the different states. Because see, being India is such a big state and the industry is so huge. We have in Maharashtra we have 900 allopathic pharma manufactured units. It's a big unit as compared to the other countries, and equally more than 1,500 low license. So it's a big industry, and so making the convenient for this industry is a priority. We are positively discussing with the CDSO how we can make it simple. And once see, now it's the portal is developed. So in the pharma language, the design qualification is done. We have requested for the performance qualification. So let the industry give some test portal so that the industry can try on that portal, and even the regulators can try on that portal. And if you can resolve whatever the difficulties coming for using the ONDLS portal at the industry level and at the regulators levels, and we can industry, CDSO and the state regulators can sit together and resolve this whatever the difficulties comes, and the CDAC can amend the required changes. Then it will be the beautiful portal, and it will be the uniform for all the states, and even the national regulators can have a required figures for the manufacturers, product permission, and whatever the figures they will require to represent the India at the international level. So That's what going on as far as the portal development and the licensing portal is concerned, and even the WHO GMP certification portal. We are looking for the best of the help from the CDSU and the CDA, and also the better suggestions are the must needed suggestion from the industry also, which will really help the regulators to develop the best of the software, which will help the industry. So thank you.
Yeah, I think the industry will be very happy if it gets simplified. I'm seeing Aditi ma'am nodding her head vigorously there. Yeah. So let me go to Dr. Virenji Shah. Dr. Shah, exporters frequently struggle with fragmented oversight and complex documentation, which we all know. Would you support a national single window clearance system here? What might that look like in practice if that comes in?
So, see, and any effort to digitalize is welcome. As IDMA, Aditi is also a part of IDMA. She's the general secretary right now. The point here is that anything that we do, is it solving a problem? That is the first question we have to ask when we initiate any such change. Second, if it does solve a problem, then is it user friendly? Because we also have to understand that a country of size, scale, and complexity as India is, and even in the industry, there are similar complexities. So, how do we ensure that the entire spectrum is able to join this journey? And if we are able to do these changes, and there would be no single answer to this. So certain changes we might have to do phase wise. In certain changes we may not have to do, and in certain changes we may have to do it rapidly. So it will depend on what kind of thing we are talking. Like for specifically, you asked the question of export clearance, and I believe you are referring to the export NOCs. So. Earlier, the NOCs were issued from the state, and then they had been again shifted back to the domain of CDSCO. And now there is a portal that through which this is done, which is all okay. The area of concern for the NOCs is there is a guideline, and we have represented to the DCGI of the issues that the industry is facing. And our request has always been that if it can be simplified, and there are a lot of ways and means to do it, and I'm sure the DCGI office is also doing its work in trying to understanding. And till date, we have seen a number of amendments in it, which are all positive amendments, and they have been considerate of the requests that we have made. Yet there are few more things that we believe could be done, so that the online becomes a facilitation portal rather than something that would have difficulties in implementing. So yes, any digitalization is welcome, but we have to consider the sensitivities of things during the implementation.
So let me go to Mr. Jain. You have proposed export facilitation cells for MSMEs, right? So what services should these offer to make a real difference, and what role do you think PharmExcel will play in operationalizing them?
PharmExcel will play a big role in doing the export facilitation centers. We'll be guiding the members, and we'll be having their inputs and what needs to be more streamlined and everything. But coming back to the first point, Dr. Granchi, which mentioned, the MSME sector which we are facing and PharmExcel also facing, is the NOC subject. See, NOC, MSME sector, we are not aligned to that concept of issuing NOC from the center. See, if the importing country puts such stipulation of NOC, then we can understand, because then it will be meant for all of the world who is supplying to that country. Suppose example, Nigeria. But only if India is putting this stipulation of NOC, then we might lose out the tag of pharmacy of the world, and we might not be able to supply certain drugs which are needed in that country. So that might, our 45% of the export, which I told earlier, might suffer. So I think we would request the government to reconsider this thing, because if the importing country requires, we are fine with it. Then it will be for everyone. Secondly, also the COPP, as Dr. Viranchi also mentioned, we are not against digitalization. We are for digitalization. We want everything to be transparent, but the only concern which we are apprehensive about is the timeline. what is the timeline which our request for COPP will be disposed of. I'll just give you some few examples. Right now, also practically we are facing, if a manufacturing unit goes for a WHO GMP renewal or a WC certificate, the center and the zonal office come for inspection. They issue this some small kappa which needs to be filled, and we fill the kappa. But again, then the center, when it goes to the center again says that okay, these are the points which we need more clarification. The whole timeline gets delayed. So if this center and the government can think about the timelines, then we should not have any problems. So, but anyway, Pharmaceuticals is there, and we are having a lot of seminars, physical seminars, as well as webinars to ease the export business.
Okay. Thanks for that, Mr. Jain. I'll go to Ms. Aditi. Ma'am, what are the real costs and challenges of staying?
Pratibha, I would like to add on Nipul Jain's
Please, go on.
suggestion.
If you can switch on
Yes,
your video,
Nipun,
sir.
Nipunji, I agree that there should be some timeline because suppose I am a manufacturer and I applied for the grant of the WHO certification, then within how much day, how much month I will get the WHO certification. And while deciding, so we had a many discussion with the CDSO office also regarding this. So, but again, that timeline should exclude the time period taken by the manufacturer for the compliance of the query. Suppose the overall time period taken by the central and the state regulators is suppose 2 months, and the manufacturer took 4 months for the compliance of the query. So it's appears that the application made 6 months before and it's granted after the 6 months. So yes, as you suggested, there should be the proper time considering the time required and availability of the regulatory officials, so that it will be the more clear at the manufacturer level. Yes, with all the compliance, I will get the particular certification within the stipulated period. So I strongly advocate the time to have a time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that there comes some assurance, Mr. Nipun, you should say thanks to ETPharma maybe. Okay, let me, yeah. So let me go back to Ms. Aditi. So ma'am, I was asking you, what are the real costs and challenges of staying inspection ready for global audits? How is it? And is this sustainable for even medium-sized companies without support? Your thoughts?
Yeah, very much, Pratibha. In fact, there's nothing like becoming ready when an inspection is announced. So frankly, and I'm sure even the mid-sized companies, as they make this journey, will realize that it actually works for everybody's advantage. You do not waste product. Your quality management system will get strengthened. And basically, we went through an entire learning curve on this. We've always looked at regulators as people who come and admonish. That is the mindset. And I remember when Indoco got its first warning letter, it was in 16-17. And we realized after that we had given a timelines of a short, medium, and long-term outline of how we are going to correct. Regulator never came back and said stop manufacturing. They were happy to get that. The only thing is, after that, it was sacrosanct. They could walk in anytime and check whether you are on the job or not. So you can't just say something and not do it. So that's one thing. The second thing is that we realized that as our quality management system got strengthened and we started, taking deviations, started having out of specs, OOS, out of trend, OOT. Some of these things, I'm sure a small manufacturer would wonder what is the need. Because if the assay limits are 90 to 100, 110, and you are getting 93, what is OOT? It's because you always got 96. So if you were regularly getting 96 and you suddenly get a 93, it said OOT. And then you investigate and justify why this time it happened. So this culture, that means, even I started from there saying that, okay, but the product is of great quality. Why should I do all this? But what the regulator is looking at is, I would call the quality management system the internal watchman. They just want to know that the QMS is on the job of watching what the management and what the company is doing. And it's a kind of a safety net. It is the representative of the regulator inside your company. Your QMS captures everything you do. They were out of trends, they were out of specs, there were many other things, and the QMS system gathered it, captured it. Root cause analysis was done, kappa was taken, and all of that is seen. They come out feeling much more happier and with greater confidence. I think this is the shift in mindset. In the beginning, even we used to curse every regulator who came and said that. We said, oh, but none of our products are failing and they are being so harsh. So they wanted to bring in this culture where everything is checked, everything. So bending backwards, we are now used to it. Quite frankly, 8 manufacturing sites, 5 have USFDA, but all 8 have the same standard because you can't have differentiated quality management systems. So I think it is a whole QMS concept. And quite frankly, as Viranchi ji said, now I'm Honorary General Secretary in IDMA, and we'd be very happy to work through IDMA, with Pharmexcel, with MSME sector, in any way where such trainings are being conducted, to share what we know. At the same time, it's not that you know everything. We continue to have one warning letter. So there's nothing like everything, but there is a way of getting there, and the culture of thinking that way is already inside the organization. It takes a bit of time. You can't create it overnight. But interesting. The problem is that with all that, we know that with all the additional work that we have to do on OOSs, OOTs, etc., which will now be expected in India, Mr. Kahane, I know you will talk to the center, but you should also talk to the NPPA. Because it's anybody's game when all of this comes in, how the whole dynamics of staying viable will
So,
come in.
thanks a
Yeah.
lot, ma'am. So,
I
yeah.
will. Can the organizer excuse me to leave the meeting because I have to join the another meeting with the center.
Thanks a lot for the time, so thanks for joining. We wanted you another 5 to 10 minutes. That's okay. Thanks a lot for joining. So, thank you.
Thank you, Viranji bhai. Thank you,
Thank you,
Aditya
sir.
sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nipun.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you
so
very
much, sir. Thank you.
So,
If I can just add a couple of statements.
Yeah.
We were talking of mindset and the kind of mindset that Ghani sir has shown. It's really appreciable of the understanding that he has for the industry, and with his wide experience, differentiating the black sheep from the right people and how to promote the right industry. I think we all sincerely appreciate for his efforts and the kind of warm words that he has spoken. And
Yeah.
also to take one statement from what Aditi just said, that there is a warning letter, but then there is a remediation plan that has been given, and then you are not on the red again. So they know that a remediation is going on, and the remediation may take 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. The only job is to make sure that the remediation is going on. Now, if this kind of a culture, also from the regulator side, let me say, if this kind of a system is evolved, there could be companies who are not yet there, but they have a remediation plan. That kind of hand-holding is something that would really help.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Shah. I think Dr. Gane has to leave. So, as I was hearing to Ms. Aditi, I felt like a CBSE student appearing for a public exam always wants to show 100% marks. So, we always prepare a lot, but time goes in short. But I would ask Vikas sir to maybe take up the last questions, final round of questions to the panelists, and maybe we will sum it up there, sir.
Oh, yes. We are always short when the discussion is so good and all very candid, bold speakers. Aditi spoke so well, and also some suggestions came from Dr. Viranchi Shah and Nipun Jainji. One quick question, and I would probably, we have about 5 minutes. Just taking a global view of where the industry is heading. We've completely, not completely, maybe we are making a very clear shift to ADCs and radiopharmaceuticals. Small molecules is increasingly it is becoming a smaller part of the global pharma industry. Biosimilars are becoming big. So are the issues with some of the immunotherapies. Just one minute for each of you to respond to this. Is our industry really ready to take that change? We have about 8,000 to 10,000 small scale MSMEs all taken together. Uh, I would like to have some kind of a view on that, on exactly where, with the sameness going on with manufacturing of small molecules, exports to a large set of countries. These same countries are going to look at India when these products become big. So, are we ready for the switch? Can we start with Dr. Viranchi Shah this time?
So I was just having a chat with one USFE official today, and one of the interesting things that we discussed was how the API industry was in India, and then it shifted, for example, to China, right? So in the same context, I think if there are opportunities, there are enough entrepreneurs, there are brains, there is no dearth of the resources that we could have to take these opportunities. What we all need is uh, government, industry, and all the stakeholders sitting together, understanding each other's issues, and coming up with an environment where there is a strong handholding, facilitation, and an environment that really supports the leap towards the new horizon. I think that is something that we all need to do.
Perfect. Aditi?
Yeah, so because agreed, small molecules are coming in, peptides and the whole thing, and they will come in gradually. I'll just tell you, while I was preparing, I asked for some data from IQVIA for, say, diabetes sector and what percentage of it comes under patent. I was shocked that it's only 11%. So, for all the threats IDMA made in 1998, let's be very honest, end of the day, India is still a market where you can supply and grow your product if a substantial percentage of the population can afford it. So possibly while we are at the infancy stage of the small molecule, the biogenerics, I'm sure as the scaling up of this industry happens and costs associated with creating infrastructure and costs associated with manufacturing come down, then every Indian will also be able to afford. Till then, the product may be great, but in India, frankly, quality of life has never had such a high prevalence, Quite, let me be very honest. So a ciprofloxacin over a ofloxacin, they'll just say one extra day of fever or something like that. So question is, are we ready? Can we afford it? And when will we be? So we have to wait, I think, for that time. And hopefully by then the industry will also be ready to make it indigenously. But this time around, all the capabilities we have today in formulation, development, manufacturing come from that time of when we didn't have product patent and everybody learned reverse engineering, everybody learned. So a question is, in this environment, which is not as I said, fostering innovation, how many Indians will want to go that way? And seriously, we need to. And if we want it not to be with a few players, then like Viranchi ji said, we really need to have academia, industry and the regulators sit together and see to it that there is money left for such research.
Perfect. Nipunjan ji?
Yeah, thank you, Vikash ji. I think time is not there for these products right now, as now the volumes are very small. And also, if you look at India, our domestic market, we are not a very mature market as of now. So these things will take time, and definitely SMEs are also looking for these small molecule, niche molecules like biosimilars or peptides. But I think the time is still to be there. So I think we'll wait.
Sure. No, I am really looking forward to that switch because it's more capital intensive, it's more tech heavy, and it's much more dramatic in the way it reaches out to patients. So the whole game is going to change in a very big way. So hopefully Indian companies will also rise to that occasion. I think this is a very good point to close the discussions, Pratibha.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot to all the panelists for taking out time once again. We will continue to do such discussions. We would want to carry out such discussions so that it becomes easier for all of us. And we keep updating ourselves. Thanks for all the positive things, comments coming out from the tariff side also. So it was very nice getting to know each one of your views. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.